Hello. In my previous video, I explained how I got the truck and what I found on the initial inspection. I did a little more research. Mainly, I looked at the title and I saw that it didn't have the insurance company's name on it as the seller. It had a rebuilder that was near Copart in Philadelphia, where I bought this from. And then I Googled the vehicle identification number, the VIN. And it never occurred to me to Google it when I was bidding on the truck. I know to do that now. And it came up as being sold in Connecticut to the company that was on the title. They bought it for $7,000, and in that auction that they bought it from, it listed the damage underneath. So if I had Googled the VIN, I would have been able to see that there definitely was damage underneath before I started bidding. Now I'm at the point where I'm pretty sure I know everything that's wrong with the truck, and I'm still okay with where I'm at. Obviously, it would have been great if I could have just put 2 doors on it and went, but it wouldn't have been for sale if that had been the case. So the time to buy it would have been when it was $7,000 instead of $9,000. But that's fine. I don't think I'm eligible to buy vehicles in Connecticut that are salvage, but in Pennsylvania I can. So they kind of did me a favor in that sense. There's rules to what states you can purchase salvage vehicles, and if you're not a dealer. Now you can go through a third party to use as a broker, but I didn't do that, and I'm just learning. Also, in my previous video, I said you can't go to Copart and inspect, and apparently you can. I didn't know you could at the time, and I don't know if I would have. It's 4 hours away from where I am, and if I had plenty of time, I probably would have went and inspected it. But when I saw the truck, it was literally going on auction the moment I saw it. So I don't want to say I rushed into buying it, but on the other hand, like I said, I don't regret buying it yet. There's been a lot of things that I had to add to it, and I'm fine with everything I've had to do with it so far. I'm learning a lot. I haven't done this kind of a rebuild before. I've done similar things to a lesser extent. And it's helping me develop my skills. And I've had to purchase some tools that I didn't have before, which is always fun. I like having tools around. And they've not been very expensive tools. I'm not going to go down the list of all the parts that I bought for it. I'm going to do that in a different video, but I just wanted to share an update of where I am right now. So, this unibody, it doesn't have a frame per se, but it has a frame shape. You see this rectangular shape goes from front to rear, and the difference is the body is literally draped over that and tack welded instead of being separate. So that frame, my dog outside, that frame shape gives it a lot of structural strength. And when I started taking this apart, I knew that this front horn, I guess you could call it a horn, was... Django! Come here, girl. Sorry about that. I knew this front horn was damaged, and I started taking it apart, and I'll show you what I found. This is that same horn in the same direction. Now, I saw all this damage when I was inspecting the vehicle once I got it home. I knew I needed to cut out a section of this and repair it. What I thought I was going to do was drill these spot welds out and take these pieces off one by one, and I bought a whole radiator support from all the way to the firewall back, so it has all of the structure and it's like a cage. And I bought all that, so I was just going to take all those pieces off of that and put them on here. So you can see I started drilling these spot welds out, and I thought for sure I could leave the structure of this frame-shaped section. But what happened was, I saw this. You see this little wrinkle right here? This is supposed to be dead flat. I noticed there's not a wrinkle on the other side, and there's not a wrinkle on the new cage that I bought, the radiator support. So once I saw that wrinkle, I inspected a little closer, and I saw this. It's just a little indentation going up. So that made me think that this had been pushed down. So I measured this, and it had been pushed down maybe 3/16 of an inch. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I could live with that. I'm not reselling this vehicle. I intend to keep this vehicle forever. And I don't think 3/16 of an inch is going to make that big of a difference as far as the body fitting together. So I wasn't concerned about it. But I saw that this whole panel goes all the way down to here. So for me to disassemble all these pieces, and it is many pieces with layer after layer, I realized once I saw it was bent that my best option was going to be just to chop this off. So that's what I did. For better or worse, I chopped the frame off. Now, this does support the subframe, also known as the engine mount or the engine cradle. It literally bolts to the bottom right here. Now, this piece is triangulated. You can see it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 different pieces of formed steel structure. That gives it a lot of shape, but it also makes this an extremely complicated joint to repair. So I made the decision on the spot to cut it off, for better or worse, and I feel good about the decision. I'm going to be able to weld that frame-shaped section very strong. Will it be as strong, and will it be perfectly heat-treated if it was heat-treated before? No, it will not. It will not be absolutely perfect. But with the triangulation, it's actually 4 ways, but it's a triangulation of all these different sections of structure. I feel 100% confident about this repair. Now, I could what they call fish plate this section to extend it out by adding another piece of sheet metal on either side, or I could wrap it, band it, they call it. But I don't think I'm going to do any of that either. I think it's going to be perfectly fine just welding it. And I'm a pretty good welder, so if I weld around this 16 gauge, I believe I'm going to get 80-90% of the strength that I would have had before. I could be wrong, but I'm not concerned about it. I'm going to try to take this off real quick so you can see the section that I cut out of the radiator support that I'm installing in. This is the piece that I made to install in. You can see this section here. It's the exact same section. I cut all of these spot welds out perfectly, and I ground them down using a small belt sander. This end is well formed to go into here, and I've got a flap on the back, and I can face weld the front. I'm going to be able to get to all 4 sides of this very well to weld this frame shaped section, no problem. And then all of these spot welds are very easily accessible. And I have a spot welder and a MIG welder So if I can't get to a spot weld that's inside because another piece of sheet metal is blocking it, I can drill holes or a section out of the top piece, shoot a MIG weld through that hole, and then put a filler cap on the top of that. I don't think I'm going to have to do that, but if I have to, I will. So I'm just about done fitting this. I have a tiny bit more sanding to do. As you can see here, I've sanded all the way around. I just need to face sand it, just grind it just a little bit to make it fit better. All of these spot welds came out very nice. They're going to be easily re-welded, and I'm ready to move forward. So this is what your Ridgeline looks like with its whole face off. This is your transmission. I had to replace this cover. It was damaged. I've got new lines coming. The lines were damaged. Again, I'm not going to go down the whole list. I'm going to do that in a video. But I have $6,000 or $7,000 worth of parts, new and used, ordered. Most of them are here. I'm waiting on a couple. I'm waiting on a couple things, and I'm having a great time. I'm out here in 5-degree weather. It's a great winter project for me. I think I'm going to love this truck when it's done. I can't wait to get it finished. I've already got ideas for customizing it, and this truck is very intuitive to work on. I really love the way it's designed. This joint is extremely complicated, but that gives it a lot of strength. And this subframe I think is going to go in very easily. I literally hacked off the old subframe. It was so damaged and in my way. But I already have a new subframe from Georgia. This part came from Georgia as well, so I'm in New York, so anything that's not corroded already is a plus to me. I've got tons of surface shield to spray underneath this, and I'm going to spray it in all the channels, so all of the metal is going to be well protected when I'm done. So just another update. This is part 2, and we're going to keep going forward. I hope you follow along.